They come from places of poverty, strife, and conflict. From nations and regions lacking adequate medical care. 1 out of every 100 of them comes into the world with congenital heart disease. Their lives hanging by a thread. These are our children. Our mission is to save them. Our work began in 1995, driven by the desire to give all children a new chance at life, regardless of race, religion, or nationality.
We knew we could help, that we should help. It seems it made sense to share our medical expertise with the world.
The idea was simple enough. Bring sick children to Israel for life-saving treatment. It took root quickly, as more and more doctors and nurses volunteered their skills and generous benefactors lent their support. More than 20 years after the first patients arrived, Save a Child's Heart's dedicated facility in Hulon is growing, with a new building now rising to expand our capabilities. Today, this unique humanitarian effort is literally a fact of life. Welcoming children and their families from the Palestinian Authority, Iraq, Syria, and even Afghanistan, from Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas, becoming an international cardiac treatment center for Israeli children and youngsters from near and far. The first step toward life. Expert cardiologists examine the children, diagnose their conditions, and recommend appropriate treatment.
We see all sorts of pathologies, some relatively easy to treat and others quite complex, but none of them can be treated in their home countries. We need to understand each child to provide the very best treatment, both physically and emotionally.
After diagnosis, the surgical and catheterization teams take over, using advanced techniques to repair young hearts. The hours and days afterwards are times of tension, as anxious families wait for news that will determine their children's future.
Since these children hover between life and death, we have to be alert to every development, to every heartbeat.
And when the news is good, moments of joy. But this is only part of our story. Alongside advanced cardiac care, Save a Child's Heart trains medical personnel from developing countries and regions, teaching them life-saving skills to take home to their people.
Save a Child's Heart is giving me and my colleagues here in Israel a highly needed training in pediatric heart surgery. Ethiopia being a country of around 100 million people, there is a desperate need for children born with congenital heart disease to have a care of such sort. I am very grateful to be the first pediatric heart surgeon to go back to Ethiopia and then give back this training that I received here in Israel back to my country and back to the kids who really need it.
Because we want to reach as many children as possible, we not only train medical teams from other countries, but also send our own people abroad to operate and teach locally.
So far, medical teams from Save a Child's Heart have embarked on more than 40 medical training missions to developing countries, diagnosing and treating children while preparing a new generation of cardiac specialists to carry on its life-saving work. All these efforts are backed up by a large and growing group of volunteers taking part in Save a Child's Heart's Young Leadership Program. When you think about it, it's truly remarkable. Despite all the turmoil in our own region, the people of Save a Child's Heart see the bigger picture. Wherever there are sick children in danger of dying, they see the possibility of life. And the world has taken notice.
Save a Child's Heart brings children from all over the world.
He's a 6-year-old boy from Haiti who will undergo a life-saving heart operation in the Jewish state.
It's just 50 miles from this checkpoint to a children's hospital in Israel. and a chance at life.
So far, Save a Child's Heart has treated more than 7,500 children from over 72 different countries. It makes no difference where they come from, how they look, or what faith they practice. We are here for all of them. We ask you to be here for us. You too can save a child's heart.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I want to say thank you for inviting me here to speak for the organizing committee. And I want to say, everyone, welcome to Addis. I am Dr. Fitsum Argaw Abebe. I'm an Ethiopian and heart surgeon by profession, working at St. Paul's Hospital and Cardiac Center of Ethiopia. I recently returned from Israel after completing my 5-year fellowship in pediatric and congenital heart surgery. My fellowship was sponsored by Save a Child's Heart. So you know who Save a Child's Heart is now. Save a Child's Heart, also known as SACH. So SACH is an Israeli humanitarian organization established in 1995 by the late Israeli-American heart surgeon, Dr. Ami Cohen, at Wolfson Medical Center in Israel. It all began with an Ethiopian doctor, Dr. Balai Abegas, who was a pediatric cardiologist, only maybe, of pediatric cardiologist here, contacted Dr. Cohen after being referred by a mutual friend, and he asked for help for 2 children in desperate need of heart surgery. Helen and Abdu were the 2 patients. And Dr. Ami Cohen said, yes. And he arranged hospital approval, organized flights, and brought the 2 children to Israel for life-saving treatment. He operated on them, cared for them, and even welcomed them into his own home during their post-op recovery. From that small but powerful beginning, Save a Child's Heart was born. Helen and Abdu were given second chance in life. And it began just by bringing the 2 patients. To date, SACH has treated more than 8,000 patients from over 75 countries, regardless of nationality, religion, or background. The organization has conducted more than 140 medical missions and trained over 170 healthcare professionals from partner countries. More than 4,000 children were from Africa alone. These are the patients treated since 1995. SACH was founded on a core Jewish value known as Tikkun Olam, which translates repairing the world. Rabbi may help me here. So Tikkun Olam, which means repairing the world, making the world a better place through action and compassion. Tragically, Dr. Ami Cohen passed away while climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in 2001, only 5 years after founding SACH. But his legacy lived on. The dedicated SACH team in Israel and around the world continued his mission and expanded his vision. Today, SACH has built a state-of-the-art international pediatric cardiac center and a Sylvan Adams Children's Hospital at Wolfson Medical Center, now the largest pediatric care facility in the Middle East. They also constructed the Legacy Heritage Children's Home to accommodate children and their families during their treatment in Israel. The objective of SACH is simple: to save the lives of children suffering from heart disease in countries where access to pediatric care is either limited or non-existent. regardless of who they are or where they came from. And SACH achieves this objective through 4 strategies. And first is providing life-saving heart surgeries and catheterization for children from developing countries at the International Pediatric Cardiac Center. Second is training medical professionals like myself from developing countries, mainly from Africa, through comprehensive programs in Israel, equipping us to establish sustainable cardiac care in our home countries. Third is mentoring and supporting local medical personnel through medical missions, cardiology screening, catheterization, surgeries, equipment support, consumables, and follow-up care in our home countries. And the fourth is supporting Center of Excellence in these areas. And typical example is the so-called South-to-South cooperation, which aim is strengthening established centers so that they can support similar programs until they become fully independent. And that's why once a colleague said, SACH is only an NGO which is working hard to eliminate the need for its own existence. That's the true spirit of sustainability. A great example is a center in Tanzania, which is now close to independence. It trains healthcare professionals from Zambia, Rwanda, and other countries through South-to-South cooperation, and has conducted missions to Zambia. And SACH was at the heart of the cooperation, coordinating training missions, equipments, and logistics during those missions. And SACH, its activities were also internationally recognized, as you saw it from the news. In 2011, SACH was granted special consultative status by the UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs. In 2012, it received Israel's President's Award for Volunteerism. In 2018, it was awarded the UN Population Award for Humanitarian Impact. This year, SACH will celebrate its 13th anniversary here in Addis Ababa at the end of March next month, celebrating a global network of doctors, families, volunteers, and supporters who help bring life-saving cardiac care to children in need around the world. During this anniversary, SACH will conduct surgical and catheterization missions at the Children's Heart Fund of Ethiopia, where I'm working now, supporting capacity building, providing essential consumables to help us expand our reach. Former trainees, including myself, will continue this mission. I just returned 2 months ago, joined the local team, and I've already begun providing care to the children in need. Coincidence, this week is called the Congenital Heart Disease Awareness Week. So let me tell you briefly what congenital heart disease is doing to the world. Every year, thousands of children are born with heart defects. In fact, 1 out of every 100 live births has a congenital heart defect, making congenital heart defects the #1 birth defect worldwide, and the leading cause of infant deaths among birth defects. What's important is many of these defects need surgery within the first life of the infant. But if you do treat them the first year of life, then they can grow like a man. And we have a good testimony for this. Jonathan, can you stand there? So Jonathan, so he was in Israel when he was 1 year old. He went to Israel for treatment. He was operated, and he went back a few times. Now he's a grown-up man. He's an expert in psychology. He actually finished his master's in psychology, and he's actually conducting He's conducting research, actually. That's his initiative, to see the psychosocial impact of the such activity. So if you treat them on time, they can be a productive citizen and they can change lives. That's why cardiac care is now included in the universal health care coverage to provide quality cardiac care, prevention, diagnosis, and treatment without a financial hardship. In developing countries like Ethiopia, this is still not achieved. Cardiac care is not a priority. That's why you can see now between 7,000 to 8,000 children are waiting just for cardiac surgery, which means those patients who need to be treated in the first year of life, maybe they get the chance to get to the hospital when they get maybe 10 years, 11 years, sometimes 15 years. So that's why people say we need a village to treat this kind of patients. And that's why such continues support to this part of the world. That's why such will continue to serve children from underserved countries where access to treatment is limited. That's why children are still traveling to Israel for surgery. Healthcare professionals continue to be trained in Israel still, and mission continue to support capacity building and mentoring at partner sites. As a former trainee, my responsibility is not only to treat. Of course, it's to treat as many children as possible, but that's not the sole responsibility. It's but also to train the next generation of healthcare professionals so that together we can reduce the burden of our disease in Ethiopia and beyond. My journey in Israel, I hope and I believe, prepared me for this responsibility. I arrived in Israel on September of 2020, in the middle of COVID lockdown, and that's history now. Yet, the SACH team never stopped treating children. Then came October 7 and the war that followed. The country faced extremely tense and exhausting circumstances. Yet, even during those difficult times, the SACH family remained committed to the oaths of Tikkun Olam, continuing to treat children regardless of their background. Because SACH treats children from around the world, we trainees were exposed to a wide variety of complex cases, diseases, conditions, guided by dedicated world-class mentors at the International Pediatric Cardiac Center. This experience, I believe, prepared us to manage complex cases upon returning home. Together with my team, I believe, and with the training I received, and with God's help, I believe I can contribute to reduce the burden of our disease in Ethiopia and beyond. And I believe that is one of the objectives of the SACH program. I want to say thank you again. Thank you.
I can say like one of the first childs that Save a Child's Heart saved. Basically, I can say they gave me a second chance in life. I had a congenital heart disease, specifically called VSD, and I have a pacemaker implantation, and every 7 to 5 years, it needs replacement, the battery dies. So the last time I went to Israel was after the 12 days war with Iran. Fortunately, the last time the battery replacement, the pacemaker battery replacement was performed by Dr. Fitsum. And like since childhood, I memorized the Sach house. There is a big house for children who came from part of the world, like mostly from Africa. I can say from Africa. And like when I was 4 years old, like nine years old, I went there like 5 or 6 times. It's continuous care. I need a continuous care. So when I was 4 and 9, I remember like there are so many children apart from Africa, like from Syria. Like I remember I had friends from Syria, Palestine, even Iraq. There are so many, like we are diverse in the house. Even parents are like for a much younger child, the parents accompany the child, and the house was big. It was really comfortable, warmth, and it's been a privilege. I can say it's been a privilege to have this care. Like in Africa, in sub-Saharan Africa, there is like less than 25 qualified centers, and 97% of the children with congenital heart disease doesn't have the privilege to get this treatment. And thanks to SACH, and I can say the state of Israel, like children like me, specifically from Ethiopia, over 1,000 children were treated and have been saved. And I'm doing a research, and it's not finished, but from my results, there is a 97% long-term survival rate from the Ethiopian perspective. And thank you, Sach and Israel, again.